Hey, Brad here, Juice Wheels. So I got this new bike that came in, and it had two issues: braking. It had basically the brakes themselves were rubbing, and then the second problem was with the shifting. So I went ahead and I actually took off the derailleur because I couldn't get it tuned in just by messing with the limit screws and the tension of the chain. So whenever we can't get it tuned in that way, that's when I like to bust out this tool. This is the derailleur hanger tool. So this will allow me to make sure that the derailleur is actually centered to the wheel the way it should be. And I saw a pretty significant difference here. So I wanted to show you what this looks like when you come across one that's bent. And my guess, it probably got bent in shipping, which is pretty common. So I always like to start from one point on the wheel. I always usually like to start between the frame here. And I'll set this O-ring in its spot. So that will be my center. I'll make everything else go bend to this angle. So I'm going to pull this out, and I usually follow a cross pattern. So I'm going to come on down here, and again, there's my derailleur. It's just kind of hanging right now because I'm actually on the spot where the derailleur should be. And here we go. We can see a pretty significant difference here. So this derailleur is definitely bent. My guess, it probably got bent during shipping, which is pretty common for things to get bent during shipping. I've seen all sorts of things get bent. You know, all it would take would be a good bang up against the box in the right spot, and you would have a bent derailleur. So there we go. I just bent it slightly, and we can see now it's coming all the way up to where the O-ring should. So I'm going to go ahead and check my other spots here. So I like to, try to follow a cross pattern. Looks like this one needs to be bent maybe just slightly. Just gonna just slightly that way. Okay, that one's pretty good. Let's check the top. Oh wow, this one's pretty far too. So this one has to come out. And sometimes what you'll find as you're bending and trying to center that derailleur hanger, a spot that you've already centered may become bent. So you kind of have to go around and follow this process a few times. You won't be able to really get it done on just one spin around the rim. So it's just something that just requires some patience and some time to do. But this is kind of what I've seen, one of the biggest causes to not being able to tune a derailleur properly. Is just it not being centered on its hanger. So hopefully this will, again, see how this one I did have in to the right bend, but here where I bent in these other two spots, it's actually bent it back out. So this is going to be just kind of a game of going around and bending it ever so slightly until it's perfect.